Hello everyone. In this video, I'll be teaching you how to use the Slugger Style. This video will have 3 lessons. Lesson 1 is what exactly is the Slugger Style. Lesson 2 is its pros and cons. Lesson 3 is how to use Slugger against opponents. So, let's start our first lesson. Alright, what exactly is the Slugger Style? A genius in the ring with overwhelming power. You throw every shot with 110%. Weak dash and block, but amazing punch damage and a unique ability, charging up your heavy attacks. The Slugger Style is the strongest style in the game. It's dangerous for its high damaging M1s and its M2s. And its M1s has a pretty good range, except for its M2s. Like you could literally outbox with this style. However, you gotta be careful for its anti-heal. The anti-heal makes Slugger Style dangerous in the ring. It reduces your opponent's healing regeneration, making your opponent pressured. Once you fight Slugger, well, say goodbye to your health once your guard is low or broken. Okay, now we've discussed the first lesson. Let's talk about its pros and cons. We've already talked about Slugger's strengths in the first lesson. The damage, the range, lastly, its anti-heal. It makes Slugger a walking tank in the ring. Now let's talk about the cons. First, it has poor block, since this style is a brawler type style. Second, it has bad dashes and use a lot of stamina. Third, it's extremely hard to get since it's a legendary style. Fourth, it has a small range unlike its M1s. Fifth, the damage of the uncharged M2 is very weak. Sixth, the M1 block damage is bad. Seventh, ult has end lag when you're laggy on mobile. Lastly, it's the slowest style in the game. Now we've discussed the pros and cons. Let's move on to the last lesson. Now we've discussed Lesson 1 and Lesson 2. Now on Lesson 3, I will give you big brain tips on how to use Slugger against opponents. Slugger has good dash distance. Try make a surprise attack to your opponent by using your M2 or M1s. Here's an example. I wait, then surprise him with an M2. Then I switch to aggressive. However, take note that it's easily dodgeable if your opponent times it correctly. I've said this on the first lesson, Slugger has a good range, which can surprise your opponent. Use Slugger's range when your opponent messes up. Here's an example. He misses his heavy attack. Then I switch to outboxing. You can also use the range to counter your opponent. Slugger is a brawler type style that doesn't rely on defensive, but relying on damage and aggression. Focus on raw damage and lowering your opponent's guard to get free hits. Your M2 is your main weapon. It deals high damage similar to Iron Fist and shreds your opponent's guard. However, it depletes your stamina a lot. Instead, try use the M2 when your opponent is cornered. Here's an example. I cornered my opponent and pressuring him. Then I use the outboxing playstyle. I move to the left, then using the M2 while he's cornered. However, take note, if your opponent is cornered, he can dodge your M2 if timed correctly. This will be my last tip, use feints all the time. Feints are super useful to Slugger, due to how slow it is. Use it to make your opponent dash. Here's an example. It doesn't deal high damage, but it makes your opponent react. Congrats! You finished all the lessons. Hope you learned something. Make sure you take all notes of what I've said. Next week, I'll be posting another guide. See ya and stay safe.